Could I ask everyone to please rise? Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the very hot 2018 MBA and PhD graduates of the Fuqua School of Business. Please be seated. Thank goodness Cameron is air conditioned. Dean Morgan wants to be sure that you all know that he graduated twice with no air conditioning. So, I'm Bill Bolding. It's my great privilege to be the Dean of the Fuqua School of Business. And it's my privilege because, in my view, every day at the Fuqua School is a great day. But today is an extraordinary day as we celebrate the accomplishments of these graduates in front of me. If I could start by acknowledging what an amazing accomplishment and how proud we are to have you here today, to be in a position to ascend into what is a higher state of consciousness. That's an obscure definition in the dictionary about what it means to graduate. So I'm happy that you're at least conscious and moving to a higher state of consciousness. I'd like to call attention to some groups other than the graduates. It's clearly their day. It's about them, but they couldn't be here, we couldn't be here without the support of the friends and family that have gathered here with us today, as well as many, many people who supported these students but can't be here today. But I'd like to extend my profound thanks to all of you for being a part of this wonderful ceremony today. I'd also like to thank the faculty and staff who cared so deeply about your experience and made sure that you received full measure during your time at Fuqua. So many, many thanks to an incredible faculty and incredible staff. Lastly, I'd like to call attention to a very small group. We have 7 PhD students who are graduating here. I think I counted that right. Maybe small in number, but giant in terms of intellectual impact. And so just remember, 7 of them get to cross the stage while they wait for about 440 MBA students. So thank you for being with us today. And it is now my distinct pleasure to turn the podium over to William Brody and Julian Gordon, co-presidents of the MBA Association.
Family, friends, faculty, and administration, on behalf of the graduating class of 2018, please accept our most sincere thank you for your guidance and support throughout this process. We all know that we couldn't be here without you. Classmates, please join me in thanking you. We'd also like to wish the mothers in the audience a happy Mother's Day. To the class of 2018, William and I are humbled to be here today. We want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to serve as your co-presidents. In turn, we want to acknowledge everything you've done each and every day towards making Fuqua a better place. You all should be proud of the positive impact that you've had in the school. Now, I have to admit, when I sat down to write the speech, I struggled to find a message that could motivate such an accomplished group of people. I mean, really, what gift do you give to the person that has it all? Well, William and I have realized that during this process of being transformational, many of us have neglected to really internalize how we've transformed. As you sit here on graduation day, think back. How have you grown? 2 years ago, each of us embarked upon a journey of self-discovery, and we were all in search of something. Whether it was a stellar new job, improved leadership skills, or really good spring break selfies. It's safe to say that we started this journey with our eyes set on the prize. In fact, I'm reminded of the Wizard of Oz and that yellow brick road. Now, if you don't remember the moral of that story, I'll remind you. Whether you realize it or not, you already possess all the tools necessary to accomplish whatever it is you set your mind to. It doesn't matter if you start this process like a cowardly quant jock or a poetic scarecrow. Taking each day in stride, you push yourself outside of your comfort zones, maybe failed once or twice, but ultimately made it here today. Now, there is one unfortunate flaw with this analogy. Graduation day isn't the end of our yellow brick road. Rather, it's really just the beginning. The reality is that you didn't become something different during these 2 years to the world. Instead, you allowed for once hidden parts of yourself to manifest in the light of day. So, acknowledging that today is just the beginning, as we peer into the future, I'd offer you this piece of advice. Trust the process. The road ahead, trust it. The road ahead is long, narrow, and filled with uncertainty. But wherever you are on your journey, know that any challenges that you face are challenges that you can beat. Embrace discomfort, knowing that you're a leader of consequence. And that is no accident. Teamwork, compassion, humility, those are the reasons that you will succeed where others have failed. Now, there's one last piece. While you're out in the world embracing discomfort, don't get too comfortable. Neither your victories nor your losses define you. Instead, it's your steadfast pursuit of the best version of yourself that will determine if you make it to Oz. Now, before I give the floor to William, I'll part with these final words. The process, the road ahead is long, but as long as you stay true to yourself, you will find the victory that you seek. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Julian. My name is William Brody, and it has been a wonderful year serving with Julian in the MBA Association. Can y'all believe that they elected identical brothers for this role? Unbelievable. But terrible jokes and blatant lies aside, Julian makes a compelling point. Life really is like the yellow brick road, with its twists and turns and what feels like endless uncertainty. And to that end, we have to trust that we have what is within ourselves to succeed in the long run. However, there is a caveat. Julian and I also contend that prior to taking any next steps, we have to ask ourselves some questions about who we are and who we want to be. Now, as I think about this, I'm brought back to the many times over the past several years that I found myself waiting in a long line with my wonderful fiancée, Laura. And in a moment of frustration, I will turn to Laura and say, "Patience is overrated," to which she replies, "You're really annoying." But as I think about this scenario and us taking our next steps, I believe that that statement holds true. Because while yes, we have to be patient and trust ourselves in the long run, but we can't wait any longer to define our values and how we're going to live accordingly. So what matters most to you? Perhaps it's loyalty, and as a result, you'll stay at a company for 20 plus years. Or perhaps it's making a commitment that no presentation is worth missing your child's recital or athletic event. Or perhaps it's service, and as a result, you'll forego a weekend each month to serving your community. Ultimately, there is no right or wrong answer. We're all going to place different levels of emphasis on particular values and actions. And for Julian and I, getting to know you these past few years, we're confident that what you choose will be admirable and make sense. Now, figuring out what values are important to you, that's a tricky premise. And so again, we say trust yourself. Trust your instinct. But do not wait to do so, because life is happening and we have to decide today how we're going to live. There's a band from Charlotte, North Carolina called the Avett Brothers. In their song, Head Full of Doubt, they sing about that very moment when you make the decision on who you're going to be, on what values you're going to prioritize. There's a darkness upon me that's flooded in light, they sing. It comes in black and it comes in white. Our decision, it's clear. Our values, when we really think about them, we know it's true. They then go on to end their song by singing, decide what to be and go be it. And I love this because it's not deciding to be a banker or a consultant or any of the other career paths that we've all worked hard to create. It's making a conscious commitment to living out those values you know matter most to you. So to that end, Julian and I, we challenge you that after the reception today, once you've taken off these itchy robes and funny hats, and you're finally alone for a moment, that you take a deep breath and you close your eyes, and when you open them, you decide what to be and go be it. Thank you very much.
Each year, the graduating class gets to select a class speaker, and class of 2018 is no different. It's my distinct honor to introduce to you your speaker, Fisayo Olaifa.
Okay, let's do this. Welcome, faculty, invited guests, friends, and family. Welcome, Fuqua class of 2018. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers here at Cameron. We thank you for all that you do for us, including teaching us to iron our clothes and lace our shoes. We love you very much. And I want to give a big shout out to my mom, who's not only been my rock in the last 2 years, but has also been a second parent to my children. Now, talking about children, I want to say thank you to my children, who have been my biggest fans and my biggest critics in the last 2 years. Thank you guys so much. And of course, I have to say thank you to you guys who thought me worthy to stand here today to represent you. I'm humbled and I'm honored to represent you here today. I'll try to do, the best that I can. My name is Fisayo Olaifa, and I was born and raised in Lagos, Nigeria. And this is my Fuqua story. I think nothing in this world derails your life and your faith like grief. And in 2014, I had that exact experience. My husband of 4 years passed, and it felt like my life was crashing in high speed. Every single thing that I believed up until that moment, I doubted. I had no idea where my life was going. I had no idea how I was going to get there. So I chose to come to business school, which is what you do, right? Like most people here, I knew that I needed a change, and I just thought business school would be the right place to press reset. Had no idea what I was coming to do in Fuqua, but I packed my bags anyway and headed here. The last 2 years for me in Fuqua have been way beyond my wildest imagination. And there are two big themes that define my Fuqua experience. The first is heart. Sometime in January 2017, I had an accident. It was the first day of interviews. I was dropping my daughter off on her second day in school. I'm a horrible driver, now we know. And at that moment, I was afraid, I was confused, I was shocked. So I did what you do if you go to Fuqua. I called someone from my C-lead. He also had interviews that morning, but he showed up anyway, and he stayed with me and my family till we got back home and we were safe. That for me was an immense demonstration of heart. The second is courage. The Business in Africa annual conference was about a few weeks away, and 3 of our speakers decided they weren't going to come anymore because Durham is too far. And the size of that club and the limited resources that we have made it okay to say, yeah, we were just going to give up. But the co-presidents kept pushing. I dare not count how many people they called across the continent, but they delivered 2 C-suite executives from Pan-African companies, including a CEO of a major bank in Nigeria. This, for me, was a dedication not only to the impact that they were trying to deliver, but also of the courage that Fuqua demonstrates each day. Like me, I'm sure all of you have stories of heart and of courage over the last 2 years, whether it's from Fuqua Talks to Fuqua Vision, the Blue Cup, MBA games, conversations on social issues, and initiatives to drive positive change in Fuqua. Every single day, we've seen heart and courage demonstrated across ranks in Fuqua. As I look forward, there are 2 big hopes that I have. The first is that I feel, with my heart open wide, all the wins and all the failures that I experience. But that I also feel the needs of others that are yet unspoken, like Eric Lobenfeld for me the day I had my accident, and the rest of Fuqua has shown every single day of the last 2 years. That I know that vulnerability is the only way that we can bridge the gap between our privilege, our wealth, our support community, and societal acceptance to those who don't have as much as we do. The second is that I live every single day and every single moment with courage, just like Melvin and MFA did as they planned the conference. That I live my life, just like Nick Obach said, life is not a given, it's a gift. I leave no stones untouched. I leave my fears behind, and I dare to take the path less traveled, because that's the only way really to live. I ask all of you at this moment to take a moment to think about your Fuqua stories. Why did you come here? What have you learned? And what's the transformation that you're taking ahead? Because all the things we've learned in the last 2 years are the things that are going to carry us through over the next couple of years. In closing, I'd like to thank you, class of 2018, for those awesome moments at Shooters and at Tavern, for Camp Out and the mind-blowing games here at Cameron, for moments where we had conversations on racial bias and when we argued about gender equality, for mutual respect and that Team Fuqua spirit that we fight so hard to protect, for moments that have filled my heart with laughter and those experiences that have filled my eyes with tears. I'd like to thank you, class of 2018, for helping me to find the heart to feel and the courage to live. Class of 2018, I think you all deserve accolades. Thank you.
Many thanks to Fisayo, Julian, and William for their deeply felt and deeply inspiring remarks. Thank you. Now I'm going to turn to acknowledging our incredible faculty and staff. And so these awards were given out earlier this week, but I do want to call attention to everybody about the Teaching Awards and Staff Choice Award that was given out earlier. So the first award is given to Robert Swinney. Thank you, Robert. Who received the award for innovation in teaching in a core class. The second teaching award goes to Ronnie Chatterjee. I think, to the point made earlier, I think Ronnie has to be at his kids' soccer games this afternoon. He was here this morning. But two very, very deserving award winners and reflective of a faculty of incredible quality. Lastly, I'd like to call attention to Steve Mizuraka, who received the Students' Choice Staff Award. So congratulations, Steve. And now I'd like to introduce our commencement speaker, Kevin Plank. It's with real joy and happiness that I introduce Kevin, because I think he's an extraordinary person and extraordinarily right for this moment. When I look for a commencement speaker, it's someone who has to meet a number of very daunting criteria. The first one is this person needs to have lived a life of real accomplishment. It needs to be someone in his or her life who's done things such that when you see that person in front of you, you go, wow, I'd like to reach that kind of success in my life. That's something that I aspire to do. It's someone who needs to have used that platform of achievement as a way to gain wisdom and insight. Because really, the goal of a commencement speaker is to give you advice as you commence on the next stage of your life. And so you need someone who is wise. Then you want someone who does things the right way, who acts with integrity, who has the character and values consistent with what we hold to be dear in the Fuqua community. And then there's one more thing, which is because it's so difficult to find someone who meets those three criteria, we generally look for someone who has a special fondness for Duke, because then they feel like, yeah, I'd like to do that. It's not such an imposition. So let me start in reverse order here in terms of how Kevin meets those criteria. So the first thing is that Kevin is not a big Duke fan. Let's just be honest about that. He is a proud Maryland graduate, a loyal and devoted Maryland graduate. And in that time, he actually played football at the University of Maryland and developed no fondness for Duke and for the Blue Devils. The other thing is that I'll talk about this a bit, but he is the CEO of Under Armour. And as Kevin White made clear earlier, this is a Nike school. And so Kevin asked him how did he get his shoes through the security detector coming in, but those are Under Armour shoes there. So it's really a fantastic thing that Kevin has agreed to be with us, given the fact that he doesn't hold a special place in his heart for Duke. But I've been pursuing Kevin for a number of years because I feel like he so strongly fits the criteria that are so important in a graduation speaker. He is someone who's had incredible success in his career. He has role modeled what it means to be a successful entrepreneur. He had a very simple idea. I didn't think I'd ever introduce a speaker like this, but he had a problem with sweaty t-shirts. And from that, he developed a business, which he started in his grandmother's basement and has built into a business with over $5 billion in revenues and over 14,000 employees. And so he is the very rare founder who's able to bring an idea to market and then bring a company into existence. Usually you can do one or the other, but doing both is an extraordinary achievement. But the thing is that he's done this in a way where he's generated enormous insight and wisdom that I think he will share with you. And he's accomplished everything he's done in a way that makes you feel like this is someone I can look up to. This is a leader who does things the right way. And I'll point to two things. One is he has a responsibility to his company. There's no question that he's trying to make Under Armour as successful as possible and return as much shareholder value as possible, but he also deeply understands his obligations in terms of making sure that he solves problems for his consumers, that he improves the lives of his employees, and he gives back in the community in which he operates. And some of the things that he's done in the city of Baltimore are really astonishing. In a place that so badly needs help from the business community, he has stepped up to make great things happen. He also has been caught up in what many, many CEOs have been caught up in, which is a world in which societal divisiveness creates cross-currents that we have to respond to. And what I'll say is that in these cross-currents, that Kevin has taken positions which have managed to get him criticized by both sides. In my view, that means he must be doing something right. Because what he's doing is he's saying the things that he believes. He's relying on his values and the values of Under Armour when he does take a public position, when you're in this complicated world where politics and business collide. And so he is someone who demonstrates the kind of leadership that I think all of you should aspire to. He, I think, holds our highest standard of leadership, which is being a leader of consequence. So without further ado, Kevin.
Thank you very much, Dean Boulding. And to the faculty, to the program staff, the honored guests, the student speakers, amazing job. Julian, William, Vyasu, thank you so much. And to the friends, the families, the cousins, the brothers, the sisters, the dads, and I'm glad to hear all the special thanks that have gone out to the moms in celebrating you tomorrow as well. It certainly takes a village to get to this moment in time, to make it this far. And especially to you, the Fuqua MBA graduates, class of 2018, I want to begin by saying thank you. I'm incredibly honored to be here with you today. And as Dean Boulding said, I do say that especially as a Maryland grad. And while it was never quite UNC, we had a special thing between our schools, as Kevin White would probably agree, that we'd probably refer to as spirited. I am thrilled and honored to have this opportunity to talk to you. And it is important that we tell you a story. So to the graduates, to Team Fuqua, well, you now have this shiny new MBA, and a few of you have a PhD. Congratulations. That is an amazing accomplishment. You should be very, very proud. We salute you. We congratulate you. We honor you. We celebrate you today. Your official days as a student may be over, but I promise you, your learning will continue on. And a lot of what you did here at Fuqua is learn how to learn. And I believe that may be just the most important skill that you're going to have in life, and I ask you to take that away today. You're going to continue to learn the rest of your life. You're going to learn from your families, you're going to learn from your friends, your communities, your experiences, and of course, your career. But just as important is how you learn and what you take away from each one of those lessons that occurs. And I speak here today from experience, and it is that experience that I want to share with you today. And for the record, some of the lessons, because I don't have all of the answers. I too am still learning at this stage of my life, and oh man, am I still learning. But I do have a pretty good story so far. And that story, along with a few of those very hard-earned lessons, is what I want to share with you today. So I'll begin by telling you about the company that I started 22 years ago and lead still today, Under Armour. Our company exists because of three essential things that allow us to live and breathe: entrepreneurship, defiant belief, and passion. Under Armour started with a simple idea. I was a football player at the University of Maryland. And when we practiced or played games, we all wore a standard gray loose cotton t-shirt underneath of our equipment. And I noticed that as I sweated, that shirt became wet, it got heavier and heavier. After practice one day, I actually weighed one of those shirts, and it came out to being 3 pounds. I was never the star of the team, so I was always looking for an edge, some way to improve and get more playing time. And it was in my dorm room that I actually came up with an idea for a totally different kind of a t-shirt, one that was synthetic, stretchy, light, tight, resistant to sweat. I had a prototype made and soaked it in water, put it on a scale, and it weighed all of 7 ounces. Life's about making things better. So I had this idea, and this is frankly where entrepreneurship comes into play in our lives. Entrepreneur, it's a word that literally means a bearer of risk. It describes a person who has an idea and is ready and willing to act on it. I decided to bear the risk back in 1996, coming out of college with not really sure what it would mean. I started a company around that new t-shirt, and I knew that shirt was better than anything that was out there in the marketplace. I knew that it would make athletes better. It would improve lives. I like to say that I was smart enough to be naive enough to not know what I could not accomplish. Naivete can be a blessing. Why not me? Why not us? Why not you sitting there right now today, dreaming, visioning, and bringing to life what you believe is your destiny? And so for me, I had no experience in the sporting goods world. Of course, I had only a tiny amount of money. And there were certainly no banks or investors lining up to give me theirs. And so let me dispel one thing that you might have heard of, things like the friends and family round. Don't be surprised when they don't show up. That's mostly true for me, but like many of you will find, I did have a lot of help. I had an amazing family and an amazing team. I was the youngest of 5 boys growing up. My mother was a working woman serving as the mayor of our hometown. My father was a land developer who died when I was just 20 years old. I didn't have a specific mentor that I leaned on. I had no business plan. There was no roadmap. I had to learn as I went along. Let me pause here for a moment to underscore how important entrepreneurship is for businesses, for our nation, for this world, and for you personally. One of the most important things that you can do now at the start of this newest, greatest chapter in your life is to see yourself as an entrepreneur because, well, you are. We all are. We all have ideas. We are all the authors of our own stories. We can all make ourselves better. We can all make those around us better. We all bear risk, which is about what you're going to do. Entrepreneurship is infused in everything that we do, not just in our businesses and jobs, but it's in our everyday lives. And as the students here know, but to some of the family who's visiting, the namesake of this school, J.B. Fuqua himself was an entrepreneur. And as a teenager, he educated himself by requesting books from the Duke University Library to be mailed to his farm. He actually has credited Duke's lending program with enabling him to learn about business. How cool is that? How important is that? Understanding what that means in today's world. And of course, you all had to be entrepreneurial just to get into Fuqua. And then, of course, to get through it. And as Jason LaRose, who runs our North American business at Under Armour, who is a graduate, explained to me, yes, in order to come from here, in order to learn how to pronounce the name, it is understood that few do qualify. Entrepreneurship is all around us, and it's the duty of all of us to encourage it and to support it. And one of my favorite examples of that encouragement and support are things as simple as a lemonade stand that kids set up in the summertime. Hear me now. I want to give a golden rule before each and one of you leave. A bit of gospel that I've preached before. That when you're driving down the road, when you're on your bike, when you're going for a run or a walk, and you see a lemonade stand, drop everything you're doing, proceed directly to it, and buy lots and lots of lemonade, because that is entrepreneurship at its best, and it should be encouraged and it should be celebrated. Talk to those kids. Listen to them. And as I explained to my kids when they used to set up their own lemonade stands, the $14 that they grossed is not actual profit when I'm the one supplying the cups, the lemonade, and the ice. You ever heard of drayage, shipping, manufacturing costs, let alone the federal government are getting into taxes? Uncle Sam gets a cut as well. My point is that there's a good lesson there. There's a great lesson there that speaks to what we all do. Encourage them. After all, these kids, these little kids, they are just like you. They are entrepreneurs. But it's not always easy to bear the risk. Under Armour's first office was actually in the moldy basement of my grandmother's Georgetown row house in Washington, D.C., where a small group of us worked nearly around the clock in those early days, taking orders over the phone, stitching shirts, packing and shipping boxes. I maxed out 6 credit cards, going into deep financial debt while desperately searching for more funding that never showed up. In our first 2 years, I drove an old Ford Explorer more than 100,000 miles back and forth across this country. That's the equivalent of 4 times around the world, trying to convince people to wear and buy and try our shirts. We survived those early days because of the second thing I mentioned earlier. We did so because of defiant belief. This is something you should listen to. What is it? What is defiant belief? It's the belief in a wildly ambitious goal and in one's ability. It's the belief that things can be changed, that things can be made better. This defiant belief fueled our growth. Early days turned into heady days, and we began to grow at a dizzying rate. We entered into contracts with sports teams and universities. We expanded our product line, moving into women's apparel and eventually footwear. We hit the $100 million mark, then the $1 billion mark, $2 billion, and today over $5 billion. We signed athletes like Tom Brady, Lindsey Vonn, Jordan Spieth, Misty Copeland, Cam Newton, Stephen Curry, and so many more great ones. Our 2005 IPO was the most successful one Wall Street had seen in 5 years. And from 2010 to 2016, we'd had 26 straight consecutive quarters of 20+% top-line growth. And in 2015, we grew over 28%. That's nearly added $1 billion in a single year. We'd had the 4 MVPs in the country's 4 biggest sports under endorsement, and our 21-year-old golfer and a guy named Jordan Spieth won the Masters and the US Open that year. We were on top of the world, and we were grinding so hard trying to reach that next milestone that it occurred to us that it may be time to pause, to give ourselves the time to take a breath, to reflect, to really listen, and to learn. So it happened. Our growth streak ended, compounded by a number of factors, including macro retail challenges in North America, our largest market, shifting consumer preferences, inefficiencies stemming from the years of growth that we'd compounded on top of each other. And this is where truly the real learning began to happen. We don't need you when it's easy. We need you when it's tough. The credit, as Teddy Roosevelt once said, belongs to the person who is actually in the arena, who spend themselves in a worthy cause, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at worst, if they fail, at least fails while daring greatly, so that their place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. Defiant belief. That's what keeps the fighter in the ring, the gladiator in the arena, the team on the field. As a gladiator in ancient Rome, the arena was a wonderful place when you're winning. You're adored by the crowd. But get maimed, take a fall, or worse, the crowd would turn on you in the blink of an eye. Defiant belief allows us to challenge the doubters and the system and sustains us during our lows and the lulls. We've seen this time and time again through our athletes at Under Armour. That is the beautiful metaphor of sports. As I mentioned before, Jordan Spieth winning the 2015 Masters in record-breaking fashion. The next year, he was leading the tournament on the back nine of the final day by 5 strokes. And then he dunked the ball in the water twice on number 12. He ended up finishing second. And Jordan tells me that more people want to talk to him about his second place finish than his historic victory from the year before. Haters gonna hate. Lindsey Vonn is perhaps the greatest ski racer, male or female, of all time. She was cheered for her 82 World Cup wins and her Olympic medals. And she was jeered for her falls and injuries in her pursuit. She actually missed the 2014 Olympics, and critics pronounced her done. Yet she stayed in the arena, fueled by the critics and the naysayers, and it paid off with another Olympic medal at the 2018 Games. This is a good one. Coming out of high school, the one that got away. Stephen Curry wasn't even recruited by his father's alma mater, let alone Duke, although you did get his brother. So he went to Davidson instead, a small school without much of a basketball tradition, and he wound up taking them to the Elite Eight. Coming out of college, there were somehow still plenty of doubters who thought that he was too fragile or too small to play in the NBA. And today, Stephen has 2 NBA championships and 2 NBA MVPs, and one of those MVPs being unanimous, never done before in league history. This year, he was slowed down by a knee injury that held him out for more than 11 weeks, and through relentless hard work and faith, Stephen has proved all the doubters wrong once again, and he has said many times through his journey, be the best version of yourself in anything you do. You do not have to live anybody else's story. Defiant belief, where obstacles and naysayers are the fuel, where some retreat, those with defiant leaf go even farther and harder. 2017 was a year at Under Armour where we hit the ball in the water twice. We fell in the downhill and we injured our knee. Our company took a hit, and frankly, as chairman and CEO, I too took a hit. So what do we do at Under Armour? What are we doing at Under Armour? We stayed in the arena, and we still swing. You see, we have defiant belief. It actually defines us, our team and our athletes. We remain ever humble and always hungry, and knowing that the number one lesson about the power of perseverance, because the easiest things to do is usually just to exit that arena. Well, I can tell you, we've been in business for 22 years. We've been a public company for 13 of those years. And in that time, we've gone through some pretty wild swings. We've been heralded and we've been panned. Welcome to the arena. You can stand on the sideline, or you can pick up a sword and you too can be a gladiator. In 2017, we took a much needed breath and reflected. We leaned in and we embraced and took the opportunity to learn. And we'll be better, so much better because. And one of the best pieces of advice that I got during that time was from, frankly, one of the greatest entrepreneurs on the planet, who embraces the notion of continuous learning. And it was an event where I had the opportunity to spend some time with Jeff Bezos, and I asked him, for the person who'd been on the cover of Time magazine as the Person of the Year in 1999, how for so long have you endured so much of the pain or the punishment of that people coming at you? And there's no one who's going to feel sorry for Jeff Bezos, but it's not nice when people don't say nice things. And the advice that he gave me was something that surprised me, frankly, because it was just so simple. What he said to me was, he said, the first thing that I do when I'm critiqued is I ask myself if they're right. Think about that. That's a really important question, whether the answer is a yes or a no. The most important thing is that you learn, and how you learn, by asking that question in the first place. Are they right? The parents, the coaches, the bosses, or just the critics, are they right? And usually that answer will probably be no. But you look for the opportunity to take the lesson and move forward. What rough chapters in your life do is strip everything down and reveal your defiant belief. Do the critics, the naysayers, and obstacles stop you, or do they fuel you? Are you willing to learn the hard lessons? I'll tell you, Under Armour is in the arena, and we've got the scars to prove it. But we stand, we learn, we adapt, we fight, and we believe. That sounds like Team Fuqua. We continue to find inspiration in the things that got us started, and that is our passion. Passion is not an emotion, it's not a hashtag, it's a true feeling. It's something that fuels us every single day, because passion for each other as teammates, passion for our work and the products that we make, passion for the inspiration that we give to our consumers, our customers, the little boys and girls that pick up or put on an Under Armour product and say, I feel like I can now do anything. That empowerment is what fuels us. Passion is what turned the original idea into a challenger, and that challenger became one of the biggest, baddest brands in the world. But we're not done, and it's not God-given. But we are certainly still learning, and we will fight every day. Entrepreneurship, defiant belief, and passion must be earned every single day. And these should always remain works in progress for all of us. Every single day, we put one foot in front of the other. We look for new solutions to old problems. We generate ideas and we act on them. We bear the risk. We create products that make you better. We make the communities that we live in better, standing tall for fairness and inclusivity. This is our purpose. And I've always looked at Under Armour kind of like a book. And we've now written the first few chapters. And like great books are like great stories. And our job is managing the beginning, the middle, and the end. And I've got to admit, there's a little part comedy, there's a bit of tragedy, and there's a lot of drama. But there's certainly many more chapters to write, just like your own chapter of your own stories. And today, you begin writing your own stories. You are the leading edge of this next generation, and one that's poised to be a great one. You are exceedingly demanding of this world, and you should be. You expect it to be fair and efficient. You expect it to be more connected. You expect it to be more equitable and more inclusive. You expect progress. You expect the world to become a better place, because these expectations are a big part of what makes you great. But you also have skin in this game. With those expectations come real responsibilities. With this degree comes real responsibilities. And in order to make the world more fair, more efficient, more connected, more equitable, and more inclusive, to make it a better place, you individually and collectively bear the responsibility and the risk of making it better. That's your job. In order to demand greatness, you must produce it as well. You must hold yourself to the same standard that you seek. To much that is given or earned, much is expected. And that greatness expands beyond your given livelihood, no matter what you do. Fortune 500 company, starting your own business, it must be done with a higher purpose, that wildly ambitious goals in mind. That belief that things can be changed, that things can just flat out be made better. Because our nation, our world really, is starved for strong, positive leadership, and they will be looking at you. They will call on you to lead with entrepreneurship, a defiant belief, and with passion. They will call on you to be the innovators, the makers, and the job creators. They will look to you to call out discrimination, to speak out about climate change, racism, and sexism. They will look to you to call out for civility, love, compassion, and respect. They will look to you to give back. They will look to you to persevere. You are here. Right now, at this very moment, you are entering the arena. You are no longer the leaders of tomorrow, you are the leaders of today. This is the challenge. More simply, this is your greatest opportunity. Grab it, take it, seize it. This is your moment. And one last thing. Do me a favor. This summer, and all the summers that follow, when you're driving down the street, when you're on your bike, when you're going for a run, seek out and stop by those lemonade stands. Keep yourselves humble. Keep yourselves hungry, and always, always continue to learn. Have those conversations with those young ones, because after all, those little ones that you'll be speaking with, those kids will one day be sharing this arena with you. Graduates, I wish you the very best. I wish you luck to each and every one of you. And I now leave you with 3 words that I never, ever thought that I would say. Go Blue Devils. Good luck.
Now you can see why I had defiant belief that we could get Kevin here and make a difference in your lives. Thank you, Kevin, for sharing your passion, your purpose, and your wisdom with our graduates. So normally, we give a gift to our commencement speaker, which is a Coach K signed basketball. We kind of debated internally whether that was a good idea and thought, well, he'd probably be okay with the Coach K thing, although Gary Williams might not have loved seeing that ball in Kevin's office. But we also noticed that there was just a giant Nike across that ball. And so we decided to give you something else. So Kevin. Next, I'd like to ask Senior Associate Dean Russ Morgan to take the podium.
Thank you, guys. You have no idea how great that is to hear, especially here in Cameron. I don't know how many of you guys know, my freshman year I walked on and played primarily on the JV basketball team here, and I didn't get any chants or cheers whatsoever during that year. Steve likes to point out to people that I wore number 32 though, and it's hanging in the rafters, and so I thank Christian Leitner for wearing that number after I came through here. So. I appreciate the chant. I think we owe you guys one, given that we're in Cameron. And so can we get maybe a class of 18 going? So class of 18. Class of 18. 18. All right, I like it. So these 2 years have gone by far too quickly for me, but it's been an absolute pleasure to spend them with you. I know your family and friends are here to recognize all the individual accomplishments that you've made, but I also want to acknowledge the contributions that you guys have made as a class. And as I mentioned to you guys on Thursday at Fuqua Finale, you've been absolutely great stewards of the brand and you've made us better. So as you listen to Kevin talk, he mentioned to you, look for ways to make things better. Look for opportunities to make things better. And I want you to know you've made us better, that we appreciate it, and I think we owe you a number of thank yous. And so when I reflect on your class, I want to say thank you. Thank you for all you've done to embrace our culture and Team Fuqua. I know the culture played a role in many of you deciding to come here. I hope it's given you what you wanted, what you expected. I hope it's helped you grow. And as you leave here, I really hope it's something that you take forward with you. As part of that, I also want to thank you for your optimism and the positive ways that you've interacted with us. So you've had plenty of occasions to come to us and bring opportunities where you think that we could be better, and you've always done that in a constructive way, and I really greatly appreciate that. More personally, I want to thank you for your time and your passion and your energy that you've poured into leading events, participating in events in ways that have made our community better. To me, these are the things that give Fuqua a soul. It's a special place because of the people and the contributions that those people make day in and day out. You made those contributions. The faculty and staff made those contributions. And so I got the pleasure of seeing you every day in and day out, creating this experience for everybody and making us better. And I want to make sure that we celebrate everything that you've done for us. So thank you for that. And so your families now and your friends really want to get to more individual celebrations. So I'd like to turn and acknowledge and celebrate a number of today's graduates for various achievements. First, for every graduating class, we recognize the top 10% of the class based on their academic achievement. These students are designated as Fuqua Scholars, and this year's recipients are noted in your program. Would the 2018 Fuqua Scholars please stand to be recognized? Thank you. Second, the students in the graduating class and the Fuqua staff and deans nominate and select students for a number of awards based on their contributions to the Fuqua community. These awards and the recipients are also noted in your program. At this time, I'd like to ask the second-year award recipients to please stand and be congratulated for their achievements. Thank you. All right, it's now time to individually recognize each of our graduates. We'll ask each of our graduates to come forward and be recognized and congratulated by Dean Boulding, Kevin Plank, and me. At this time, I'd like to ask Catherine Schipper, the Thomas F. Keller Professor of Business Administration, to read the names of our graduating PhD students.
Colleen Mary Cunningham. Simone Time. Gabriel Alejandro Bonilla. William Benedict McCartney. Jinxiao Du. Karen Amanda Scher. Scott Gordon Wallace. Congratulations to you all.
Thank you, Catherine. Now I'd like to ask Steve Mizuraka, your Assistant Dean for the Daytime MBA program, and Cheryl Dirks, our Associate Dean for Career Management, to come forward and read the names of the graduating MBA students.
William Copeland Brody. Julian Andrew Gordon. Fasayo Alifa. Dixon Harold Abel. Nancy Lynn Abramowitz. Katrin Eltazar. Ruchi Agarwal. Candice Jolie Armand. Rahul Agarwal. Brianna Pearl Fisher. Udit Anand. Tushar Dasgupta. Avinash Diori. Mark Toledo. Eduard Calzada Oliveras. Ignacio Elias Arambani. Isabel Carrera. Rolando de la Peña. Jose Fernandez. Ian Jovkin. Matias Ferrer Silva. Carlos Andres Alanis Jimenez. Hector Elizondo. Pratima Bhattacharya. Atmi Desai. Kemitat Asamwapnyang. Yoon Du. Mangya Ding. Saran Emily Gao. Yihong He. Lauren Castle. Franco Aguirre. Frank Carmine Ariema. Robert Daniel Costa. Sean Sudhir Basar. Larry Wallace Campbell, Jr. Jamie Kent Blaustein. Nikhil Arun. Elizabeth Christine Arneson. Claudio Milagros Jimenez Vera. Marco Antonio Barriga Monteverde. Yitao Ding. Lucas Chaya Del Pino. Paul Gutierrez Rosa. Willie Chen Mo. Pei Fan She. Lena Bakta. Nicole Barefoot Skellen. Melissa Blett. Hannah Elizabeth Kadish. Alyssa Michelle Berland. Christina Marie Buckless. Brittany Alexandra Bolin. Dana Lauren Kessler. Amanda Meyer Bushell. Francis Sunfield Brandon III. Daniel Thomas Birch. Tom Bazemore. Jason Allen Bogardus. Adam Michael Blake. Javen William Bowles. Jonathan Lynn Bullo. Luke Alexander Bose. Mitchell Robert Brunson. Alexandra Hillary Kagan. Ralph Giovanni Caprio. Colin James Carner. Mitchell Drake Gorecki. Andrew Talbot Campion. Nicole Chitulia. Kyle Timothy Shea. Curry Cheek. Yohai Benheim. Yuan Bung. Moon Chung. Sandra Morella Chacon. Wasan Chaijet Sari. Ian Cheng. Young Jung Choi. Su Zhang, MMS SNU. Jason Chung. Sydney Suk Un Bae. Sung Hoon Cho. Chantel Carter. Christina Benavides. Sierra Estelle Crawford. Anibal Aritzia. Augustine Degano. Guillermo Urvasel. Kelly McHugh Sheproff. Scott Christopher Covington. Allison Gay Creedman. Kaylin Alyssa Christofferson. David Tyler Clark. Manuel Benjamin Costa. Angel Gonzalez Sanchez. Enrique Caballero Ramirez. Fernando Campos Garcia. Jorge Baltazar Ibarra Galaviz. Rafael Campos de Matos. Catherine Marie Comiskey. Claire Leslie Colton. Brenda Chitra Jasarathi. Amanda Jean Clifford. James Edwards. Matthew John Pasiri. Brian John Delarusu. Omar Nabi Shihab. Shangri Chen. Mehmet John Chivi. Christopher Chang. Derek Ross Dennis. Christopher Ryan D'Angelo. Samantha M. Dinah. Kellen Carmelo DeStefano. Wallace Reese Chandler. Kushal Doshi. Peter Del Busto. Michael John DeNoya. Amanda Marie Duggan. Jihan El Gabri. Natalie El Gosain. Ian Spencer Orard. Scott Jeremy Evans. Mariella Baracol Kriebel. Leonardo Guete Bueno. Luis Alejandro Hernandez. Luis Ignacio Alexandre. Juan Fernandez Capejela Gomez. Diego Jose de los Rios Mancaya. Diego Dominguez Ezeguirre. Araz Javadov. Maria Mawita Gitwa. Shruti Chaudhary. Diego Eguiguren. Mamta Advani Ais. Seth Thomas Fabian. Hardy Faison. Luke Stewart Fangman. Maxon Anthony Frederick. Daniel John Feeney. Yulia Guminyak. David Joseph Jetto. Benjamin H. Fong. Hannah Rose Ford. Sasha Renee Frankel. Jonathan David Flaspolar. Gatika Gupta. Anupam Gupta. Daniel George Frank. Zachary Allen Borstein. Sana Mehta Gadvani. Samir Gadvani. Kevin Douglas Geck. Douglas Parker Gill, Jr. Yuji Gao. Abranil Goswami. Diego Alexander Garza. Christian Stafford Harry. Danielle Sarah Heyman. Tiffany Shea. Eugene Lee Han. Caitlin Rose Irwin. Christopher Edwin Hagan. Hari Kandula. Walker Sharp Hobson. Maury McCurdy Nolan. Trevor Keeling Casey. Gregory C. Joyce. Victor Franco. Franz Bedoyan. Kyle John Harkin. Michelle Kathleen Hardy. Hugh McCormick Hayden. Kirk Joseph Hayes. Scott Alexander Harris. Gil Heyman. Ryan Chase Haggerty. Christopher Ryan Hanlon. Joseph David Glass. Joseph Robert Huber. Siddharth Dwivedi. Samarth Kapila. Sanchit Bhatia. Rashab Deepak Kicha. Dhruv Vera Jain. Mona Lisa Dutta. Min G. Lawrence Lee Johnson. Jordan Bryce Jones. Kevin Robert Jones. Tasso Jatara. Nolan Francis Carthel. Shimpe Ekeno. Sung Kim. Min-hee Kim. Shu-yi Chung. Matthew Brent Rappaport. Yurgu Wang. Brian Cleefuth. Stephen William Cleefuth. Kevin Charles Cumlin. Yiyun Lin. Asia Kurlansky. Denny Kwok. Alexander Rothman. Jonathan Michael Kushner. Paris Matthew Smallwood.
Joshua Craig LaBelle. Alex Linovich. Sarang Uday Palsul. Varun Krovidi. Anna Sophia Moran. Maram Zamakshari. Jillian Quinn Lyon. Catherine Sarvis McNeil. Tatiana Montiog Arcastin. Lauren Elizabeth Coley. Amanda Susan Watts. Nicholas Aiden Perry. John Carter Prince. Stephen Ross Kolodny. Kevin Patrick Cray. Colleen Elizabeth Schell. Kevin Shren-E Liu. Jason Matthew Wachs. Arjun Singh. Daniel Charles McCullough. Patrick Joseph Morrissey. Zachary Smith. Thomas John Oliva. Bryant Thomas Weiskopf. Michael Whipple. Tammy Tao Lee. Patricia Ann Lubeck. Eric Michael Lubin. Yang Le. Thomas Hansulke Kwan. Sung Yoon Lee. Terry Lee. Andrei Okotnikov. Sunghoon Lee. Jessica X. Lee. Ling Wei Albert Lee. Patrick Joseph McDonough. Megan Caroline Margell. Judith Anna Mersbach. Emily Lauren Mason. Brooke Ashley Levin, also receiving a degree from the Nicholas School of the Environment. Chenzui Lee. Joseph William Lovis. Brittany Aspinall Madlam. Ran Moore. Hadass Mahari. Alone Valency. Song Lee. Shal Liu. Colton Lloyd Messer. Nicole Christine Wong. Mark William Joseph Norton. Lauren Williams Niculescu. Allegra Foster Palmer. Michael Reed McGee. Matthew Ross Linsenberg. Kristen Pratz O'Donnell. Rachelle Carlette Olden. Allison Stewart Overdorf Morris. Jennifer Elaine Masuera. Alexandra Osa. Jessica Morgan Odeyemi. Swati Tiagi. Olivia Frances Klupar. Shraddha Sridhar. Nishank Mehra. Akash Kumar. Shashank Maheshwari. Kavni Kar Takar. Marcea Sias Leal. Adrian Gonzalez. Sofia Rodriguez Leon Owens. Juan Diego Weaver Gonzalez. William June Lim Yap. Diana Yasmin Mobley. Pakawan Prakongbun. Joaquin Rojas Herrera. Nicolas Villarreal Ugarte. Daniel Restrepo Betancourt. Carlos Andre Pena Herrera, also receiving a degree from the Sanford School of Public Policy. Alejandro Treas. Aaron Zambrano. Jose Pedro Velasco Gonzalez. Pablo Agustin Hoshi. Owen Patrick McClellan, also receiving a degree from the Sanford School of Public Policy. Bryce Miller. Aaron Russell Rapolo. Michael Kenneth Prettyman. Benjamin Stanley Parker, also receiving a degree from the Duke School of Medicine. Sanjeet Kumar Misra. Benjamin Robert Funderburk. Daniel Locke Ballard, Jr. Alexander Kovacevic. James Tor Schneiders. Luke Cornelius Patrick Brennan. Barrett Jackson Nye. Sebastian Francis Magraner. Kyle Pate Muma. Andrew Michael Wiersma. Brian Thomas Ashley. William Philip Graham. Jacob Kent Porter. David Michael Sider. Heen Nguyen. Ian Christopher Beckham. Christopher Michael Kane. John Krachowski. Luan Nguyen. Paola Miranda Gonzalez. Benjamin Joseph Sobel. Hawan Nuntagid. Yusuke Taima. Casey Suala. Yohei Okino. Yasu Nakano. Xiao Qi. Chao Chao. Mario Enrico Limantara. Zong Nguyen. Vinoj Vijayan Pillai. Dana No. Jaime Leonardo Lanfranco Olivo. Lloyd Grant Patterson. Wesley Charles Norris, also receiving a degree from the Sanford School of Public Policy. Thomas William Payne II. Jonathan Paul Liss. Yannick Medina. Zachary Kevin Prohaska. John Langland Pearson. David Timothy Royson. Colin Evans Robb. Tessa Ann Moss. Kalpa B. Raj. Amy Livia Martin. Susan Sasu. Danielle Renee Specht. Stephen Michael Seed. Eric John Smith, also receiving a degree from the Nicholas School of the Environment. Sebastian Miguel Lopez Betancourt. Jennifer Intieri. Jerron Rhodes. Akash Shah. Eric Spencer Smith. Byron Joshua Ransom. Manish Mayank. Anurag Singh. Amanda Suarez Underwood. Marlene Amefa Baita. Melvin Emmanuel Afote Teta. Pedro Samariba. Ronald Nehemiah Siniga. Aditya Pratap Singh. Abhinav Mopuri. Sugmin Song. Daphne Valle de Matos. Elad Shani. Lou Shera. Sarah Elizabeth Staub. Jonathan David Sprague. Kyle Patrick Sherwood. Lauren Toth. Catherine Elizabeth Toner. Jenna Ziesenhen. Sonali Mehta. Lauren Elise Vick. Alexander Tuller. Lindsay Kate Stouffer Smith. Katrina Margaret Vodder. Dana Lillian Warren. Michael Chow Zhou. Christian McGregor Stedman. Spencer James Stevenson. Vincent Wang. Jesse Max Sedler. Patrick Zhang. Anastasia Solovanik. Paige Wolf Swafford, also receiving a degree from the Nicholas School of the Environment. Adeline Magdalena Sutanto. Sachin Thakur. Nikhil Prem Anand. Angela Eleanor Tenney. Dan Taylor. Evan Michael Taylor, also receiving a degree from the Sanford School of Public Policy. Christine Ann Unkrich. Caroline Wyatt Vincent. Anisha Singh White. Joy Wang. Michael Adam Weinstein. Daniel Weiler. Zachary Witt. Charles William Wood III. Judy Ye. Stacy Catherine Yano. Cecily Zhang. Daniela Zamolo Laroche. Wen Zhang. Lily Zhang. Jinyang Wang. Shayla Young Shao. Anita Yuan. Cecilia Zhang. Marcelo Mazafera. Julia Grisi Lolato. Bruno Bett. Andre Sanchez. Rodrigo Najas. Bruno Spielberg. Andre Montiero dos Santos. Demetrius Withers. Saken Shayak Metav. Hyun Oh. Ryan Wonjun Park. Sewon Park. Marianne Ethel Spain. Michael Zarowski. Nicholas Joel Zwemmer. Jinwoo Cho.
Could I ask the students to all rise? Okay, I guess it's redundant to now say congratulations to the PhD and MBA class of 2018. So I'm going to ask the students to stay standing for a couple of minutes, and for the rest of the audience, what I'd ask is that you remain seated until the ceremony is concluded and we have all recessed out of Cameron Indoor Stadium. But before we do that, I'd like to repeat my thanks to everyone who came to join us today, the friends and family who could be with us to celebrate this amazing accomplishment in terms of what these graduates have done. Again, thanks to our wonderful faculty, our wonderful staff, for shepherding this experience. Special thanks to Kevin Plank. It turns out that he thinks that we should add another criterion to the list for people who give the commencement addresses. They need to be physically fit enough to shake all those hands. But thank you again for your inspiring remarks. So before we conclude the ceremony, you know I'm not going to let this moment go by without taking advantage of one last message to you. And I want to start at the beginning I'm not going to talk about the entire time, but you probably have no recollection whatsoever about what I told you at orientation. But what I told you was that we had to have permeability, that we had to let what was going on in society enter into our environment here, and that there would be a tendency to say, let's live in this wonderful, lovely Team Fuqua bubble. But if we're going to produce the kinds of leaders that the world so badly needs, we have to let the world in. We have to let that inform your experience. And so that's something that you truly embraced. So when I talk about the characteristics of a graduating class, they always want to know what makes us special, what makes us different. And what they really mean is, do you love us, and are we the best class ever? And so I am here to tell you proudly that I love you, and that you are, without a doubt, the best class ever. Having said that, you should hope that next year I say the same thing, because that means that we're getting better and better and better. And so if I actually take the time to tell you what makes you different, it is that you put in the effort to make us better, that you did allow for this permeability to let society come in and inform your experience. And that turns out to be incredibly important in the following sense, which is you are the first class to discover that all of you are minorities. And what happens when you realize you're a minority is that you would like to have your voice heard. Everyone wants to have their voice heard. And so what this class did, unlike any class before you, is you use your voices. You use your voices, and those voices were not all in agreement. Because we heard from so many of you, so many more of you than we've heard in the past. And that's a good thing. It doesn't matter that everyone agrees. What matters is that we had those voices and those voices were heard. And that we never lost sight of what underpins this place, the idea that no matter whether we agree or disagree, we do believe we're all on the same team and we all have the same goals for greatness for this place and in terms of what we can accomplish together. And so I'm incredibly proud of you for bringing that to life in a way where we've had conversations that have made us better and will allow us to produce talent in the future that, as I said, hopefully is even better. Maybe you'd like to make some remarks too, but. So thank you. So the main message to you is thank you for what you've done, what you've brought to us, and how you have left us in better shape than when you arrived. Having thanked you, I'd also like to make some requests of you. And I'm not going to ask you for money. I will do that plenty of times, but not right now. So 4 things that I ask of you. The first one is, clearly, this day is your day. This is all about you. Having said that, all of us understand that the way we create greatness is when we're on great teams and when people bring out our best. And what I'd like to be sure you do is that you show your appreciation to all the people who helped get you here, who helped allow you to have this magnificent accomplishment in your lives, because nothing is done on your own. It's always done with the help of so many. And so for those people who are here today, please thank them often and profusely. For those people who can't be here today, make sure you reach out to them and let them know how grateful you are that you made this accomplishment possible. The second thing I ask is that you stay connected to us. All of you are going to disperse to the different corners of the world after you graduate. One thing you should realize is that Fuqua is everywhere. We are everywhere around the world, and you can stay connected to us even if you can't be back here in Durham. But make a point of staying connected to us because we need you. We needed you to make us better as students, and now we need you to make us better as alums. You enter into new obligations and new opportunities in terms of what you can accomplish. This is not a 2-year transaction, or for our PhD students, slightly more. Multiply that a few times. This is a lifetime relationship. You are a part of the Duke community forever. And with that right comes real responsibilities in terms of what you can do to give back for the people who will follow you. You must understand that your experience was so informed and so shaped by the people who preceded you, and so I hope you're ready to step up and give back to the people who will follow you. Third request, as soon as I say it, you're going to tell me it's stupid, and of course, this is an obvious thing that we'll do. And that request is, please, please stay connected to each other. If you think about the experience that you've been through wonderful times, you've been through terrible times, you've laughed, you've cried, you've written books about that, TV skits, whatever. It's been an amazing journey. And because of that, you have bonded in ways that have created the opportunity for lifelong relationships. And as you stand there today, you're probably saying, of course, I will never lose track of these people. These people are so important in my life. And I can't bear the thought of having people here fall out of my life. But I have some advice for you, which is watch how that happens. Watch how that happens, because guess what? Life will come at you. You will move into new circumstances, you'll be in new environments, you'll meet new people, develop new networks, new activities, new passions, and so many things will be crowding out what's happening in your life. And my point is very simple, which is don't just assume that these incredible bonds that you've created during your experience here, during your time here, that they will automatically stay strong. It will take work. You will have to make time for one another, but if you make time for one another, you have the opportunity for something that will pay you back immeasurably over your lifetime. So please stay connected to each other. The last thing is, again, connecting to where we started. Because when I talked about this permeability, I said 2 things about permeability. Number 1, we have to let the outside world into the Fuqua experience so that we can better prepare you as leaders. But number 2, you have to carry with you your experiences in a way that you live up to the Fuqua values throughout your career journey. What this means is we have high expectations of you, that you have this obligation to use business as a force for positive change in the world, that you have an obligation to try to be as successful as you can possibly be, but you also have an obligation for a life of significance. So we wish you success and significance. And you may recall that I talked about something that makes this place unique is that people here are happy. And they're happy because they're giving their very best. They're making full use of their talents along the lines of excellence and pushing others to achieve the same. And so we wish you great happiness. And so if you can be successful, significant, and happy, you will be the leaders of consequence the world so badly needs. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.